Hello, it's 9 p.m. in RTD. It's time to English New Edition for tonight headlines. We have the increase in the number of positive cases. For the international scene, UN chief calls for eliminations of nuclear weapons. Welcome to our newsroom. The scaling up of COVID-19 testing for the entire Djiboutian population it's one of the priority of the Ministry of Health in its strategy to respond to the COVID-19 pandemic. From now on, non-travelers can be tested in the 5 polyclinics of the capital. A special unit set up for the collections of COVID-19 samples are operational in the following facilities: Polyclinic Farhad, Polyclinic Ahmed Maki of Engela, Polyclinic Dr. Goulet of Pika 12, Polyclinic of Hayable, and Iftin of Warabale. Those tested can withdraw their certificate of negativity within 24 hours after the PCR test is considering the number of high cases for almost 2 successive weeks. It is essential to scaling up the screening operations and to approach the vaccinations, which remains the only safe answer to fight against the spread of the virus. Under the joint patronage of the Ministry of National Education and Vocational Training, the Minister of Social Affairs Solidarity, as well as the Ambassador of France in the Republic of Djibouti, a ceremony to award certificate of completions of the vocational training to 192 young people was held this Monday, September 27, at the Leek Industrial and Commercial High School. These trainings are part of the overall employment policy of the government formulated in the Djibouti Vision 2035. These trainings are an operational response to the skills of deficit observed as a sources of unemployment and provide immediate employability. Exclusions from employment is the most severe form of exclusions, generating effect that reinforce marginalization and lock the individual into the vicious circle of poverty. A partnership environment was at the origin of this success. The IDDS, through the social project management firm, identified the training needs, selected the beneficiaries. For its part, the Ministry of Education, through its center, but also the Chamber of Commerce, Kazaf and Al-Rahma, the CFT and the Willow Center provided the training for its part. The French Development Agency has provided funding, and the construction company is committed to recruit the young people trained according to a quota of skills in needs. The Minister of Social Affairs Solidarity, Ulufa Ismail Abdou, has indicated for her part that the Integrated Urban Development Project, financed by the French Development Agency and executed by the Djibouti Social Development Agency in the Labli and Mustikert neighborhoods, served as a framework for these trainings whose completion is celebrated today. For his part, the Minister of National Education and Vocational Training, Mustafa Mohammed Mahmoud, has indicated that 192 girls and boys out of the school have successfully followed different courses with the main objective of their insertion is in the execution of some project activities such as welding, electricity, masonry, but the training was also open to the opportunity to other opportunity in fields such as hair, dressing, sewing, and cooking. The ONTD, in collaboration with the French Army FFDG, launched yesterday, Sunday, September 26, 2021, an open day dedicated to the first tourism fair at the FFDG base. This fair was inaugurated by the Air Division General Stéphane Dupont, commander of the French forces stationed in Djibouti, and the senior officials of the Ministry of Trade and Tourism, Ali Daoud, the Secretary General, and Osman Abdi, Director General of the National offices of tourism and saw the participation of Djiboutian tourism operator. The objective of this event was to make known the product and tourist services available in our country to the families of French soldiers and expatriates. These exhibitions allow the visitor to discover the tourist assets of our countries, which possesses maritime tourist sites such as White Sand Godoria, the Sian Island, the geological curiosity in the Lekasal and Lekabe of the tourist site in altitude in the sector of Franda, following the example of the Dai, Bankwale, and Dichidu. Also in Musa Ali, several other tourist sites are also scattered in the north of Mabla in the southern regions of the country. For his part, the Secretary General of the Ministry of Commerce, Ali Daoud, has indicated for his part that the objective of this event was to make known the product and tourist services available in our country to the families of French soldiers and expatriates. This exhibition allowed the visitor to discover the tourist assets of our country, which possesses maritime tourist sites. As part of the evaluations of access, the ICT technology among peoples with several needs, with special needs, the National Agency for Persons with Disability, ANPH, organized this morning at the People's Palace the first meeting of the Steering Committee of Survey RATA, Rapid Access Technology Assistance, assistive technology, ET, and promote better health, well-being, and equitable participation in society. People living with chronic illnesses and people of advanced ages also need assistive technology. Hearing aids, wheelchairs, assistive communication technology, and memory aids are all examples of assistive technology that are part of the assistive technology ecosystem. In Djibouti, the Ministry of Health, the National Agency for Persons with Disability, and the Djibouti Institute of Statistics are the two central institutions that will conduct this survey project. Ahmed Ali Berry, Ambassador of Djibouti in Cairo and permanent representative to the Arab League, had a meeting with Hassan Rabhi, the director of the Arab Fund for Technical Assistance for African Countries, League of Arab States. During the meeting, the two parties signed a memorandum of understanding on the promotions of cooperation relation between the two institutions, between the Arab Fund for Technical Assistance for African Countries and the Institute of Diplomatic Studies of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and International Cooperation of Djibouti, represented by Ambassador Ahmed Ali Barre. Following the assumption of command of the new commander of the Interior Regiment, General Zakaria Sheikh Ibrahim, Chief of the General Staff of the Armed Forces, CIEMGA carried out a general inspection of all the personal materials and equipment in each regiment. The region of Ali Sabih, where the Ali Sabih Joint Battalion, BIAS, is located, headed by Colonel Umar Mohammed Ali. The new commanders of these battalions opened the ball this morning at 7 a.m. The objective of these inspections is to take stock of the human materials potential, but these inspections also allows to have an overview of the different installations of the corps. In this trip, General Zakaria Sheikh Ibrahim was accompanied by Colonel Ibrahim Ilmi Khaib, Acting Chief of Staff of the National Gendarmerie, Colonel Abdurrahman Ali Kahin, Acting Director General of the National Police. General Zakaria was welcomed by Colonel Umar Mohammed Ali, the new Chief of Staff of the Army of Ali Sabih Inter-Army Battalion, BIAS, in the presence of Colonel Major Mohammed Qayad Gele, Deputy Chief of Staff of Defense Staff, and Colonel Magdi Jama Musa, Chief of Protocol of the ADF. After the customary greetings, General Zakaria Sheikh Ibrahim undertook the review of the troops composed of the soldiers of the BIAS and a small delegation of senior officers of the General Staff of the Armed Forces. In his speech, General Zakaria Sheikh Ibrahim, Chief of the General Staff of the Armed Forces, has indicated that as the new Chief of Staff of BIAS, Colonel Omar Mohammed Ali remains the first person in charge of all the troops, their materials, equipment, and infrastructure. As such, it is his responsibility to ensure the preservation and periodic maintenance of the materials and equipment. At the end of the speech, the Chief of the Defense Staff, General Zakaria Sheikh Ibrahim, was given a brief presentation by the of the resources available to the ISAF BIAS. Then General Zakaria Sheikh Ibrahim proceeded to the inspections of the means of mobility held by this battalion of Ali Sabih. At the end of the ceremony, General Zakaria Sheikh Ibrahim attended a march past of the troops of the Ali Sabih battalion led by new commander Colonel Omar Mohammed Ali. The ceremony ended with a refreshment and the traditional family photo.
بعديد مسحدي إلا دلشدادي سيدا أورك دان كان دبرك أن كررنا غي نحدثون كما فرو بمشنا مديري نحدثوك كما فرو بمشنا مديري
The AGCD Associations of Youth of Chateau d'Eau of Ali Sabih organized yesterday morning, Sunday, September 27, 2021, at the headquarters of the Regional Council, an official ceremony of a sponsorship of the cost of textbooks and access to the benefit of about 15 orphaned students from poor families at the city Assajog. The ceremony was attended by the prefect of the region, Musa Adan Migane, the vice president of the regional council, Noor Saeed Geldon, the principal of the Lycée Arre, Ahmed Abdul Qadir Okiye, the principal of the college, as well as the students, the parents of the students. This social actions project was financed by the Djiboutian benefactors, and the Assajog diaspora contributed enormously. It is the second consecutive years that the AGCD has organized this sponsorship. At the end of the ceremony, checks were handed over by the president of the AGCD to the heads of the various institutions concerned. President Idris Bashir conducted an awareness campaign from door to door, a campaign in collaboration with the OVD, ONIAD, the City Council. All have indicated that zero tolerance to the scourges of insalubrity. These operations are the prelude to a vast operation of cleaning of the city registered in the programs. Thus, the inhabitants of the different communities are invited to take care of the protections of their immediate environment in terms of insalubrity and hygiene. The offender to this new provision will be subject to severe fine. We regret to announce the death of the late Ali Daher at Peltier Hospital. The deceased was born on February 2, In 1936 in Djibouti, he served with honor and loyalty as the parliamentarian, civil servant, and as a simple citizen. Former parliamentarian before independence, he continued and ended his career in the Ministry of the Interior. He leaves behind him 2 widows and 10 children. May God welcome him in his eternal paradise. Inna lillahi wa inna ilayhi raji'un. For the international scene, UN chief calls for eliminations of the nuclear weapons. United States Secretary General Antonio Guterres spoke yesterday on the International Day for the total eliminations of nuclear weapons, saying that nuclear weapons must be eliminated from the world and a new era of dialogue, trust, and peace must begin. The fight against the threat of nuclear weapons has been at the heart of the work of the United Nations since its inception. The UN chief said in 1946, the very first General Assembly resolutions aimed to eliminate from national armament atomic weapons and all other major armament adaptable to mass destruction, the Secretary General noted. This is it for the news. Thanks for watching us. Have a good evening.